Hello, hello, hello. I almost forgot what to do. Welcome back. Can we say Happy New Year? I don't know. But I tell you what, guys, season 3, we made it. Episode 1. Des, smile on your dial. How are you, my man?
I'm doing good. What a summer. What a break. It's been awesome.
It sure has, I tell you. Been up to anything exciting, mate? What have you got up to over the summer break?
A bit of time at the beach, bit of time at
Nice.
home with the family, nothing too dramatic, but I've really enjoyed the break, I must admit. It's
Nice.
been taking me a while to get back into the swing of things.
The break from work or the break from us?
Yes. I'll be deliberately vague and just say yes.
Yeah, cool, nice, like it. Oh god, here we go. Looks like a world of pain and confusion. Andy, how are you today? Season 3, episode 1. Young Oliver with you. How's it been, mate? Oh. What have you done?
Muted.
Andy, we can't hear you, mate. We can't hear you. I can't believe this. We're all... Des, firstly, Des, listen, he was late to the show.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, finally. I was just saying. Firstly, you're late to the show. That's the first issue. And then you mess up your audio. That's the second issue. I think that's almost 3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah.
That's
And then I can replace him.
Oh, Oliver, you would be far superior. Far superior.
Yay.
How are you guys? How's your holiday been?
We've had a good time, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, a really good time. Been out and about a little bit.
Yeah.
Some pretty cool
Nice.
things. Yeah, been good.
And Oliver, we know that you take safety incredibly seriously. Have you had time to really disconnect over the summer months and just kind of let things be? You know, just like sometimes go with the flow, take you where the wind blows. You know what I mean? Have you really had a chance to, just hang out and chill out for a little bit? You know?
Yeah.
Nice. And when do you head back to school, mate?
The 3rd.
The 3rd of February. Wow. Well, listen, a little bit of warning based on your dad's performance this morning. Make sure you start elasticizing your brain. Start getting yourself ready for school because you'd hate to turn up late on your first day and then not be able to speak, right? Well, I tell you, we're off to a cracker. Now, listen, while you boys have been enjoying your summer holiday, I've been doing some work on the YouTube channel. So tidying up some of our logos and starting to get some stuff. So just want to make people aware we do have a YouTube channel and you can scan the QR code there. Sorry, Oliver, to block you out. You can scan the YouTube channel. Oh, I think we can go like this and it looks even better. And join us there. We're going to be releasing our special episodes. So all the podcasts go to YouTube if that's your preferred way of watching this. But we will be releasing some special shows. So head on over there. Let us know how it is all going for you. A quick reminder, gentlemen, can we get a bit of probably shouldn't be discussing our business affairs live on air, but any updates to how the merch sales are going?
It was a quiet Christmas period.
Oh, that's not what I was hoping to hear. Okay, now, when I asked about whether I could get a mug, you said we're all out. Have you put the order in for the next set of mugs?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so just got to remind you guys how this works, right? I ask a question. I need you to be a bit more than like a 1 or 2 word answer. Otherwise, this show is going to be over in a couple of minutes. But
okay. The order's not in, but the order is prepared. If that makes sense. So I've worked out what mugs we're getting. They're slightly different model this time.
Yes.
Sort of a Circus of Safety mugs 2, maybe we could call them.
Nice.
How original.
They're still in the black print.
Yes.
Mainly because the color ones are more expensive. and I'm aware that some of our listeners, our loyal listeners, will be struggling with the cost of living crisis. So I would just like to assure them that I'm thinking of them.
As he
I
sends out multi-million-dollar invoices every month for doing Sweet FO. I had to watch my language. Hey guys, I know we want to get into the show, but I'm also just super excited. Not only have we survived we haven't actually survived the third season yet, right? But we've survived 2 seasons. We're into season 3 of the show, but some exciting news. We've been invited back to something, right? We've been invited back to MC an upcoming event. Now, how cool is that? The fact that somebody wants us back for the 2nd year in a row.
I think they have a
Really
short memory.
exciting.
They're very exciting.
Very exciting. Well, as Des said, possibly a memory like a goldfish. But super excited. We're just in the background preparing alongside our mates from Brightstar the National Health and Safety Leaders Summit for 2025. Lock it in your diaries, 26 to 27 March. It's going to be at the Dewdrop Event Centre. Andy, you might need to give me a Google link, but super excited to be back. Looking at the lineup, mate, it's looking like a slightly different approach, but great lineup of speakers, and obviously the hosts and MCs are phenomenal, I hear.
Absolutely, you know the venue. It's where the whitewater kayaking place is.
Is that what it's called these
That's
days?
the place that we went.
Yes, the place we went.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Nice. Oliver, what's the safety rating of that facility? Do you remember? Top of your head?
Pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was pretty good. There was quite a lot of shouting from the instructor, though, wasn't there?
Yeah.
She was quite aggressive.
Wow. Well, we might have to do a psychosocial assessment on that one, but great to see on the risk matrix it was scored as pretty good. Hey, well, listen, let's not muck about really. Let's get into it. Des, can you please ensure that we are legally, morally, and ethically covered for the remainder of the show, please?
Wow.
Not a hope in heck.
I might be able to help with the first one. But I thought, when reflecting over the summer, I thought this podcast is a bit like a New Year's resolution. It's full of good intentions, but questionable execution and absolutely no legal liability. The opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of employers, organisations, or anyone who still believes they'll stick to a gem membership in past February. We aim to entertain, educate, and spark discussion, but nothing here should be taken as legal, professional, or dietary advice. If you make major safety decisions based solely on this podcast, we strongly suggest consulting an actual expert. So let's get into it.
Nice.
As always, there's beautiful, beautiful. We really need to get back into that theory of putting those on a T-tail, right? So love your work. Now, boys, I have been beavering away, scouring all my show notes because I'm the only one that actually works during the show. And we've a number of times throughout the year, last season, we said, "Oh, that'll be a whole another topic." Well, I've pulled those out of a hat, mate. I have gone through and I have scoured my
show notes in a hat.
Well, where else do you keep them?
Maybe that's my problem.
Exactly. And I did this all at 10 minutes past 8 this morning. And I'm very pleased to show everybody the latest, the greatest, Season 3 Spinning Wheel of Death. Look at that.
Wow, look at that.
You're not
There
even
are
looking at it.
There, he's been caught out. Not even paying attention. There it is. I mean, look at that. I think I counted, and I mean, maths, guys, not my strong suit. I counted 17 topics on that wheel. What a great start. That's almost going to get us to Season 4.
Are those colours random, or do those colours reflect where the topic came from?
Well, you would like to think that they were random, but they're also appear to not be random. So they're randomized colours, reflecting the risk score provided by the individual that put it on the wall, or on the board, I should say. Yeah.
I like the idea of having white and purple on the risk matrix. I think that would add real value to it.
What about the
I think
red? Very dangerous.
Yeah, that is. Well, are we ready to spin the wheel for the first time this season, gentlemen?
Let's do it.
And here we go. Wow, what a topic to get us started. What a topic. Andy, I've got to be fair, you are one of the most tinniest people I've come across. I believe this is one of your statements, one of your phrases. What are you saluting? Are you saluting? Are you trying to look
I just got a headache all of a sudden.
You've got a headache.
Okay.
Working safely or safely working is the first topic of season 3 to land on the wheel. Andy, I mean, this is something you talk about all the time. This is a question you put out all the time. Now, I might have got the words the wrong way around or the like, but your initial thoughts, shock, dismay, excitement to the first topic of season 3.
Interesting. Obviously, it's interesting topic. I'm not quite sure the wording's quite right, but while Des is talking, in that split second coming up, I'll try and work out what the wording should be.
Wow, Des. I mean, your thought. I mean, listen. Again, the season has not started well for you. Last season, I think, finally, after 23 episodes, finally, the one topic you put up landed on the wheel. I mean, how do you feel about the fact that Andy's topic has gone first this season? Not off to a great start for you. Initial thoughts, comments, concerns, feelings, even possibly?
Well, it's just routine now. I've got one topic out of the 17. I don't expect to see that for another 43 years, I think, based on the current rate. As for this topic, I'm not really sure what to make of it. Is it a similar sort of concept to the safety of work and working safely or something like that? I've heard that bandied around before. The work that safety people do, or just working safely.
Yep. No, it's sorry. I tell you what, clearly people don't have a life. I've got a messenger chat group that I'm in that has gone absolutely off, and I don't know how to turn it off my laptop, and it is incredibly distracting. So I do apologise. Yeah, I mean, so it is. I mean, Andy talks about this all the time. I mean, Andy talks in riddles most of the time, right? And so that's where I'm a little bit worried that maybe I haven't got this. But maybe it's the work of safety or safely working. I'm not quite sure. Andy, have you worked it out exactly what your phrase is that you say all the time?
No, I haven't. I guess the fundamental concept is that we just want people to work safely.
Yeah.
And I think that's a term that we don't use enough. We talk about safety, but safety's as I don't want to go there just yet, but it's a poorly defined term.
There we go.
Oh no, I've gone there.
There we go. You've already gone there, mate. We're not even.
What we really want to focus on, and a much better phrase to use, would be working safely. So if the whole field is about people working safely, that's tangible. That actually means something. Or it certainly means more than saying we're doing safety.
Yep.
Which isn't really a thing.
Yes.
And I think if we use better language, more engaging, more inclusive language when we talk about safety,
Right.
we might not need to change the legislation.
Oh, mate, listen, that chat group thing is just absolutely. I think I figured out how to turn it off. Sorry, people clearly need to get a job. Yeah, so it's a really interesting concept. So talk us through a bit more, Andy. I mean, so what's the difference in your mind? So what you're saying. Sorry. So let me just get back. It's just chaos. It's season 3, episode 1, and already I'm distracted. I'm off topic. I'm off the boil. I'm feeling like I should have stretched that brain before I got onto the show. But so what you're saying is safety is would it be fair to say safety is a topic versus maybe, the fact that working safely is a doing word? Is that, I mean, you're a teacher, Andy. Am I barking up the right tree here?
Oh, I'm. Yeah, I think so. I think so. We use a lot of words in the field of safety, whatever that is, that ill-defined area, that don't really speak to the majority of workers.
Yep.
And sort of safety technical garbage words. What I think strikes a chord with them when I work with the operational teams is we just want you to work safely. Yeah. Now, that's not about apportioning blame or putting pressure on anybody. It's saying, okay, we're in this together. What can we do to help you work safely, and what can you do to help your workmates and yourself work safely? I think that it's a much more tangible conversation to have, and it helps move towards that engaging sort of safety approach, which possibly ties in with positive safety culture about engagement, rather than that idea of imposing safety on people.
Yep.
Which is often what the perception is. With the best intentions, when I sit down and work with the operational teams, the overwhelming thing is that they feel as if safety is imposed on them.
Yeah. Okay. No, and I guess I think I'm slowly getting what you're saying, right? Like, how often are we part of a conversation and all you hear bantered around the place is, health and safety this and health and safety that, right? And what does that actually mean? Whereas, like I said, the end result is we just want people working safely, right? Before I head up to Des to reflect on your great words of wisdom, just want to call out a friend of the show, HNY Lads, welcome back. Now, I'm not quite sure. I'm assuming that means Happy New Year. Thank you, Mark. Welcome back. Good to see you on the show. And then also another friend of the show, Matthew Sadgrove. Welcome back, lads. Here's to a cracking year. All the best for the new season. And as you can see, Matthew, we clearly need all the help we can get as we're off to an appalling start. Over Des, I mean, what are you thinking on Andy's thoughts of this concept of, rather than this concept of working safely as a mindset, as opposed to we just got to it's just health and safety?
I think it's a good sentiment and it makes a lot of sense. I think it just needs to be quickly followed by some sort of practical example or practical application. So, you might be speaking to someone who changes a light bulb in a building and just comes into an office building and changes a light bulb. And, we're going to work safely. We're going to look after our mates. We're going to do all of this stuff. And my question is, well, what is that person now doing differently about changing that light bulb? What's the practical application of this? Because that's where the rubber hits the road.
Yep. Oh, no, sentiment's one thing, right? But practical application is another thing, and maybe we can start pulling out what does working safely look like in a minute. But no, I love it. So the concept's great, but like most things, right? I think one of the topics, and this might have been Andy in anger at some point, or was this you? There's if a model is never used correctly, is it a good model at all, or something along those effects? And I guess this is the same thing, right? The sentiment of working safely, how valuable is it if at the end of the day the end result isn't tangible, right? And there's nothing actually practical to do about it. Jumping back over to Matthew, his comments here on the topic so far is, I think the topic may be work safe, not just safe work. This indicates some risks are taken in the modern world, and we need to be aware and prepared with our approaches. Des, I mean, does that ring a bell or kind of align with what you were sort of saying?
I definitely agree with Matt that, there's always going to be some degree of risk. The question is how much are we prepared to accept? But the idea of work safe, not just safe work, is there a difference between those two terms? Work safe, you're putting the obligation on the worker to do something and be responsible and behave appropriately, and then safe work is the system that puts them there. Maybe it's a bit of both.
Great, yeah, very very valid point, and we'll come back to that. Andy, I mean, your thoughts on what Des was saying around all well and good if that's the sentiment to work safely. But what does it actually look like tangibly in your mind when you're having a conversation with somebody about working safely? What does that look like tangibly from a practical application point of view?
Well, you're just asking them what do they need to do to work safely.
But what exactly does that mean? What's the difference between working safely and just working?
Well, there isn't any. That's the whole. Well, in my mind, we shouldn't be emphasizing the need for safety, right? We just want to work. We just want to get the work done, right? As you've mentioned several times, getting the work done. But we move into this idea of risk management, where we can do the work quicker, but we're exposing people to more risk. Or we can do the work slower and to less risk. And it's that whole understanding. The point I was trying to make was that it's really about a branding issue. To get to where we need to be, we need to not talk about its safety, because that's about, like I say, it's poorly defined. We need to say, what can we do to help you do this job safer or more efficiently? And the two things I think are linked. I think efficiency and safety are linked at a very fundamental level. So that's where I was going with it. I wasn't really going into what would the conversation look like or the nitty-gritty of it. I was talking more about a rebrand in terms of saying that's a much better conversation to have, or a much better way of engaging people. That was all.
Oh, sorry. Oh my God! You lost me there for like
We're not with
about
it.
2 minutes.
I mean, honestly, it's not about blame, Brenton, but both me and Des are looking directly at you at the moment.
Mate, I tell you, you're as political as Christopher Luxon on a good day. Interesting
Those road cones are not helping anybody.
But thankfully, coming to the rescue, Robert Macaulay. Looking at Matt's point, is it attitude versus system? And again, I guess that's where you were kind of alluding to, wasn't it, Des? Does the term, when we say to somebody, hey, mate, listen, we just want you to work safely, that's kind of putting the onus in your mind on the worker, right? Versus the system, which is, I guess, the business or the organization's responsibility. So is that kind of aligned with where you were thinking?
Yeah, it was just a suggestion from me that maybe those words could be read that way.
So then I'm gonna fire a question back at you then, Des, because I'm just fascinated. So do you think that's a problem though, putting the onus on the worker, saying to the worker, listen, we're going to give you everything that you need, right? We're going to do our utmost best to provide you with everything you need to do, from in terms of systems and processes and tools of trade and training and all that. But at some point, surely that onus for the worker to actually use those tools, use that training and all that, at some point there is some onus on the individual or the worker.
Yeah, but like I said, I think it's both ways, because saying we're going to give you all the tools and all the resources and all the processes to do it safely assumes that you've thought of everything and mitigated every potential contingency. I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, but that's where we do. Is that not where we need the worker then to apply those that knowledge and that skill and all those other things to mitigate?
The worker needs a sort of requisite amount of competence and discretion and authority to exercise that discretion to account for all those contingencies in the moment. So I think it's both.
Fantastic. Well, while we might be struggling with this topic, the audience sure isn't. Matthew Sagrove is jumping in again with some more comments here. I think the difference is the intended work environment. Safe work leans into the ability to fail safely, and working safely means the environment isn't intrinsically safe, but work is required in line with our risk appetite. So some interesting comments there coming through from Matt. Jumping over to Leon. Good morning, Leon, and welcome to the show. I take it as working safely refers to the actions of individuals while doing their job. and safe work equals established procedures, work methods that make the task safer. So I guess from what I'm picking up where Leon's going, he's kind of going down that road that you were going there, Des, where it's a combination of two things, right? It can't just be about telling the worker we need you to work safely. It's that combination of having those two things working together, right?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair way to pass it. But is that the intended meaning of that statement, Andy? Is it? Are we going down?
Well, apparently I
road
misrepresented Andy's
You're right,
statement.
it's all
is what
very
he's telling
valuable,
me.
but again, I'm obviously not explaining myself quite well, or somebody just typed it in quite incorrectly, so I'm sort of backpedaling a little bit here. So, what we want is people working safely.
Listen, mate, pointing the finger and blaming me for your lack of support over the holidays. I never heard a word from you until you told me you were running late for the show this morning.
Just the word holiday. Working safely is the key. That's what we want. We want people working
That's
safely.
the outcome, right?
All the other stuff should be about helping that worker work safely. So the two things aren't separate things at all. Yeah, you want people working safely. That's got to be the goal of safety. It's not stopping harm, which is incidental or is related to that. It's if everybody's working safely, we don't have bad stuff happen. Now, everything else that contributes to that, either positively or negatively, is what safety actually is. But what we should focus on is what do we need to do to make people work safely or enable people to work safely, as opposed to have the question, what do we need to do to stop people getting hurt? It's a much better and much healthier conversation to have.
All I needed was some poor grammar, Des, and that got Andy excited. That's awesome. I love it. Absolutely love it, mate. I don't think I've seen so much passion out of you.
No, honestly, seriously, I've been going for a walk every morning. I read a book about great ideas, and some of the greatest ideas ever in the whole history of mankind have occurred when people are out walking. So I thought, well, it's my turn.
I haven't seen for 2 hours in the morning.
So I've been going out and walking. Seriously, it's brilliant.
Well, listen, I got to debunk that theory. I mean, this is probably one of the greatest ideas I've ever had in terms of the circus of safety, and this idea was formed at a pub. So I'm just going to debunk your theory of walking right there, mate.
I was more talking about Einstein's theory of relativity rather than a dodgy podcast.
Oh yeah. So back
Dodgy because of you.
Exactly.
I'm trying to come up with a unifying model of safety.
So back on track there, gentlemen. So what I'm taking away is, Andy, if I finally cotton on to what you've been trying to get across, is that the outcome is that we work safely, right? Yeah. So that's the outcome.
That's the target. That's the goal.
That's the goal, right? The outcome, the goal. So when we need to take that approach, thinking about what is the outcome we're trying to achieve, which is for people to work safely. What do we need to do to enable that? And now that may include a number of things, as Des was alluding to: safe systems of work, training, the right equipment, all that kind of stuff. Wow. Okay. So Des, have you finally caught on to what he's been trying to rabbit on for the last 20 minutes about?
I think so. So if I can repeat what he said, it was instead of looking at what can cause harm, we need to look at how to enable people to work safely.
Yes.
Would that be a fair summary?
A checklist.
So we're looking at the positive working safely rather than enabling the positive rather than mitigating the negative.
Wow.
So I think there's a bit of a problem in that, and I think with humans it's so much easier to think of the negatives.
Well, that's just because you're a
I've
pessimist, mate.
I think that could be it, and I've seen this play out though when surveying workers for what can we do to improve work, we get no responses. But if we change the question and say what's stopping you from doing your job during the day, or what are you finding difficult about your day, we get heaps of responses. And then we just go about removing those things.
So, do you think because it's more difficult to think of how we can improve things, easier to focus? So does that mean we're lazy or pessimists?
I suspect that might just be some function of the brain that we've got. It's hard to be creative and think of novel, outside the box type things. It's easier to deal with the problem that might be in front of you and overcome that because it's there. You can see it. It's presenting some sort of barrier, whereas trying to think of something novel it's difficult.
So, and that's a fair point, and I guess, but I also want to jump on, and maybe it's another topic, and I should write this one down for season 4. Do we have to continually look to be novel? I mean, and is that maybe are we framing those questions poorly? Like, sometimes maybe the best solutions are the simplest solutions, and things that we've done before. But just want to give Andy an opportunity to counter your pessimistic view, Des. Andy, I mean, what do you think of what Des is saying, that life's too difficult, it's easier to focus on the negatives? Yeah. I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, being from the UK, one might argue that that's a natural baseline for you.
It could well be, but again, I'm trying to talk at quite a holistic level rather than a specific level. I mean, if you're asking people what they could, like Des indicated there, question is, what could we do to keep you safer, and nobody answers. Well, in my experience, that's because the way that you're presenting the question's incorrect, or the atmosphere, or the way that you're a facilitator as well, Brenton. You know that a skilled facilitator, and we've had a few on the show in the past as well, is you can get people to do the most absurd things within 15 minutes of the start. You got a room full of strangers, but within 10 minutes, they've all got each other's hands on their heads, right? I mean, it's how you present to get feedback. It's how you present the question. And I think what I'm trying to do is to try to say that when you're trying to build engagement with people, it's much easier conversation to say, and we're moving into the hop space here as well, is how can we collaborate? How can we work together so you can work safer? That's the principle. Now, the detail of that is almost irrelevant, and that would be developed. The methodology that you would do would be developed depending upon the workers that you've got, the language they're speaking, the culture within the groups, any norms within those groups. But fundamentally, that's what you're trying to achieve: is how do we help each other to work safer?
Can I pose a theory, which will hopefully maybe Des could trial this with one of his next invigorating surveys that he sends out to his workforce. Maybe we remove the concept of what can we do to make your job safer. What are we if again, because you all know I'm on the bandwagon to abolish health and safety, right? Mm-hmm. What if we phrase the question, and Andy, you're a wordsmith and a teacher and an educator and all those kind of great things. What would you suggest if we approach the question more along the lines of, what could we do to make your job easier? Take safety out of the equation. Why even bother putting safety in that equation when we know as safety professionals, and you and I have had this conversation about hazard and risk registers as well, right? Those are the domains, those are the tools of trade of safety professionals, if you will. Getting people to, the worker to ply through hundreds or thousands of lines of hazards and possible risks doesn't achieve anything, really, apart from maybe helps alleviate sleep apnea. But is it the same with this? Is our goal, we know fundamentally that our goal is for people to work safely, right? But do we have to keep framing it in that mindset? Do we have to? They're not health and safety professionals, right? They just want to work. They want to do their work. So is it more about framing the question and actually removing ourselves from that equation and not making it all about us, and just saying, how do we make your job easier? What can we do to make your job better?
Yeah, absolutely. But then I would assume that the part of making your job better would include safety.
But do we have to harp on about that?
What do you mean by better? I get home half an hour earlier. I become less profitable for the business. I become more profitable for the business. I mean, you've got to define your parameters when you're putting a word like better in. Better for whom?
Correct, but by going, but by targeting the question, how do we make it that you can work more safely? That's incredibly specific, though, right? And maybe too pointed.
It is, but I'm not saying that you go and ask those questions of people. I'm taking a step back and saying that's what the focus of the philosophy should be, as opposed to going in and preventing harm. It's actually let's take this to a different level. Let's look at the work, the nature of the work, who's doing the work. All of that sort of stuff. I just think it's a much healthier way of looking at safety, is focusing on the active aspect of work, yes, as opposed to the negative aspect of accidents and accident prevention. Now, you need both of them, of course you do, but it's what do you focus on when you're trying to engage with people? And it's when you show an interest in how do you do this work, yeah, as opposed to saying how do we stop accidents. It just for me it just works better. And I've used it with several different businesses. Two questions that I like people to ask is how can we do this job safer potentially, and the second point is who owns the hazard.
Wow.
And I think with those sort of two questions, or two philosophies, or trying to ascertain what those are, you can make some quite significant progress in improving safety in an organization without actually doing much.
Well, you're a consultant, so we wouldn't expect that.
Nice.
You walk straight into that one. Straight into it. Oh, I love it. Love it. Hey, fantastic. So, listen, just as we start to sort of wrap up the show, there's you've listened to Andy steal about another 5 minutes of our lives that we'll never get back. What's your final thoughts on this topic as we look to kind of leave our audience with dismay that they've wasted 45 minutes of their day?
I think that last piece by Andy really made the point for me, and I think I agree, because you do need to look at both, but if we're talking about engaging with people to get the outcomes that we want, whether that's safe work or whatever, phrasing the question in the positive, how can we enable you to work better, safer, whatever the outcome is that you're looking for. Yeah, that's definitely going to help with the engagement piece. Yeah, I think as an engagement tool, I agree. Yep.
Yes. Great. Awesome. 1-0. Andy's met his KPI for the year. We don't put a lot of expectation on Andy's KPIs. We only set him one. Andy, your final thoughts on the topic, mate, as we wrap this show up?
It was an interesting one. What I'll do is I'll go and do a bit of research and try and work out what I really meant when I
not make promises.
That, and maybe we could do the proper show.
Don't make commitments that you're not going to deliver on, mate.
It's already out there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
This isn't recorded?
Because it says live.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Andy, yeah, just don't make promises you can't keep, right? Well, there we go. There we have it, folks. I guess to wrap up that topic, it's about framing the outcome, if I've got this right, Andy, in a positive light. And there's clearly some need to be clear on what that outcome is, whether that's working better, working safer, or however you want to frame it. But something for you to try at home, I guess, without considering this to be professional advice, would be to how can you frame what you're trying to achieve in a more positive outcome. Stop being a pessimist, get out there and be an optimist, and let's see what we can achieve. Well, there we go, gentlemen. That's effectively a wrap for season 1, season 3, episode 1. Listen, I'm going to try a new thing that I've learned. I just want to show of fingers, mate. 5, that was a really good show for you. 1, there's a lot of room for improvement. Where do you sit on today's show?
I think maybe midway, maybe 2.5 stars.
Wow, 2.5 stars.
Plenty of room for improvement. The disclaimer was amazing, but it just went downhill after that.
Oliver, on a scale of 1 to 5, mate, 1 being really bad, 5 being really good, how do you think your dad performed?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I mean, sorry.
No. You can't change the criteria like that. That's not how it works.
How do you think the show went, Oliver? 1 being really badly, 5 being really good.
5. I think 5. The amount, what the number you give is going to be directly proportionate to your pocket money this week.
Inversely proportionate.
You two were 5, but you were 2.5.
Hey, Des, are you happy to chip in for Oliver's pocket money this week, mate?
I think might have to after that. Goodness me.
Love it. Andy, your thoughts, mate?
Improvement.
1, the show was really bad. 5, the show was really good. How do you rate the show, mate?
5.
5. Nice. Awesome. Hey, well, as we come to an end again, listen, the fact that people tune in and listen, firstly, a big shout out to our avid listeners today for contributing to the show. Mark Gummer, thank you very much for jumping in. Matthew Sadgrove, as always. Robert McCauley and Leo Moritz, appreciate your time dialing into the show. And I guess that's what keeps us going to some extent, the fact that we can't believe people listen to this. But also, we've got a whole bunch of followers joining us still, surprisingly, on our LinkedIn page, which is phenomenal. Now, our latest follower has joined us. He's got a couple of mutual connections here, so that's fantastic. And apparently, he's a LinkedIn Premier member. So now he's going to see that I was stalking him on LinkedIn. So this could be awkward going forward. But Naresh Dekonda, I think I've got that right. Naresh Dekonda. He's a manager for learning and development at MMSI, whatever that might be. MMSI. It looks like it might be MMS Maritime. Coming and hailing from Mumbai in India. So we have reached the continent and the country, I should say, of India. So welcome to Naresh. Hope you enjoy what you're getting out of here. And Naresh, listen, for the right price, we're well open to traveling to India to do a show. Just want to put that out there as I blatantly look for travel sponsorship. But there we go, team. So I guess we've got a bit of work to do. Andy, you've promised the audience some research. So good luck with that. Des, I'm not quite sure what you're doing between shows, but we need to start preparing for the National Health and Safety Leaders Summit coming up, as we said, 26 to 27 March 2025, Dewdrop Event Centre. And last but not least, I'm going to make a commitment here. We've got a new feature of the show, and we're going to launch it hopefully next week sometime. So there's my commitment to the audience. It's only going to be exclusively on our YouTube channel. So make sure you head over to YouTube, sign up for the Circus of Safety in YouTube, and from next week, we should start to see the next portion, the new offering, I should say, from us to you to help grow the profession and to keep the conversations real. So, Andy, Oliver, what have you got planned for the next couple of weeks, boys?
We're doing a bit of traveling around, a bit of last minute vacation type stuff before Oliver goes back to school.
Nice.
Year 6 this year, last year of school, of primary school.
I was going to say, he is smart, but he might still need a few more years under his belt, right? No, fantastic. Des, what about you, mate? What have you got planned for the next couple of weeks?
It's just work for me. Just another couple of weeks of work.
It's not just work, it's never just work when you're in safety and construction. It's never just work. Don't play it down.
It's my passion.
That's it.
It's my reason for getting up every day.
That's beautiful.
Ooh.
Is that all right, Andy?
That's beautiful.
Is that what you're looking for? Yeah.
I'm well enough. I'm well enough.
And also, just to, I feel like I'm part of the furniture already. Just want a big shout out. End of last year, some of you may have seen, if you follow me on LinkedIn, I wrapped up my time in the construction sector, and what 3 years it was. It was great. But we felt that we needed a bit of diversity on the show. So really stoked and really feeling incredibly welcomed to Frontiera Oceania or Brands, where I'm leading a team of phenomenal people out there in Takanini and across the country. So so a bit of a change, bit of diversity. Looking forward to introducing the learnings that I'm garnishing from the new experience, and so far it's been a cracker. So thank you to the team there for welcoming me with arms wide open. I wasn't allowed to get too close. There was some kind of security issue or something, but nonetheless, I tried. But listen, guys, great to be back. I think the next show, listen, we set the bar so low on season 3, episode 1. We can only get better from here. So a big thank you to you all. Enjoy the rest of your time. See you in a couple of weeks. And till then, take care.
Thanks, Brent. Take care.
See ya.